welcome to the show. This is Life After Divorce, and I am your host, Chris. This is episode 10, and today we are going to talk about communication. This is actually going to be part 1, and I'll bring part 2 in next week in the next episode. So part 1 about communication. Really, really important, not only in how we communicate in our daily lives with our coworkers and our friends and our neighbors, even our children, but really, really important when it comes to your partner, your significant other. So, again, whether you've been divorced or not, pretty much irrelevant on this topic because of talking about communication. Starting with, if you tell your children to clean their rooms, and they go in and pick up 2 books and pick up a shirt off the floor and put it in their closet or hang it up or do whatever with it, to then they clean their rooms. You looked at cleaning their room and you said go clean your room because you wanted the bed made, you wanted the books picked up, you wanted the toys picked up, you wanted the laundry picked up off the floor, but you didn't say that. That's what you meant. That was your intent. However, that's not what you said. And they went off your direct communication of clean your room, and to them, they clean the room. These are the types of things that get really, really misconstrued and can make that much difference in your wording can make a massive difference in your day when you're communicating with your significant other or your spouse. So, a couple of things that I want to point out before I get started. Number 1, I have screwed up and I have failed every single one of these that I'm going to go over both today and next week as well. So, nothing that I'm sharing with you are things that I've mastered, and nothing that I'm sharing with you are things that I never had problems with myself in the past. Number 1, as far as how you communicate, keep in mind, you don't get to control the other person's response, okay? And the only thing you really have any control over are your actions, your body language, your words, and how you react to someone else, okay? And again, think about this in all the communication you do throughout the day. We are exposed to 30,000 messages a day. A day. The average person uses over 30,000 words themselves a day. Okay? So think about in all the interactions you have over the course of a given day, how many times you think about or feel like you're not in control or wish you could control more than what you actually have control of. Okay? So, that all being said, getting into the communication aspect is that, and the reasons we have so many problems with them is that we're different. Men are different from women, and that's okay. Women are different from men, and that's okay. Doesn't make one sex superior over the other. It's just that we're different. And I use this phrase and this analogy a lot with people, and a lot of people laugh at me. And I'm sorry I'm forgetting the pastor on YouTube that has shared this before. This is where I got it from, and I stole it from him. But men's brains are like waffles. Women's brains are like spaghetti. So women can focus on 3 million different things at the same time, giving some type of attention to all of those different thoughts in their brains, and can still focus on what's going on. Men are more like waffles because our brains are compartmentalized like boxes, okay? I've got my sports box, I've got my nothing box, I've got my spouse box and my kids box and work box, and they're boxes. And I stay in one box at a time. I don't move boxes, okay? Now, whether they're all organized or not is left to be determined, but that's how my brain functions. I focus on one thing at a time, maybe 2 at the most, but for the most part, it's compartmentalized in boxes. So, knowing that, if you treat your thoughts as facts, you're really not going to be very open to receiving information or other thoughts or opinions from somebody else. And a lot of that comes back, that's kind of the world we're living in, right? Like, we could solve all the world's problems and have world peace if we could figure that out. But even in a relationship, if you look at my thoughts as the facts, and that's it. These are the facts because these are my thoughts, and somebody else brings a different perspective and you're not really open to that and not willing to listen to their perspective or their thoughts, where's the relationship going? Like, you're really not working together in the relationship. Because you're really not open to receiving any other information or a belief or a thought compared to what you have, what you know. So that really can hinder a relationship. Another piece is high emotion. And again, I laugh because I'm having flashbacks in my own brain right now of all the different times that I've screwed these different things up. Women tend to have a little higher emotion than men do. It's just who they are. Women want to share their thoughts, share their feelings, share. Doesn't mean they always want the feedback and what the male has to say, because men, we are fixers. By nature, we fix stuff, we build stuff. It's what we do, it's in our blood, okay? And women want to share thoughts and feelings, and they don't always want a response, and they definitely don't always want it fixed. Again, I've learned a few things along the way. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, okay? So when a female is sharing their thoughts or sharing their feelings and sharing their experiences, number one, don't judge them because they have these feelings. Don't judge them for that. But your response can be, what can I do to help? What do you need from me? Both are very valid questions. And then based on what they have to say about it, either she just wants to talk and I'm just going to sit here and acknowledge and pay attention, or we're going to argue about it because I want to fix, and then she's going to come back at me, and then then the dance begins. Like, these all sound like so remedial third grade stuff, but we all screw it up so badly. And it's this much difference. That much difference can make a huge impact in the conversation, in the communication. So again, don't judge by their feelings. However, like I said, you can say, what do you need from me? You can also say, hey, I've noticed that blank, okay? That's an observation. Now, they may not agree with your observation because they look at it differently, but you can share observations together and not have this massive, fighting and attack of battles. I hope you can't hear my dog right now. But the other thing that we want to avoid are global labels, always and never. The problem with always and never are that they are universal labels that we put on things. So I'm going to use the classic example of the toilet seat. You always leave the toilet seat up. You never put the toilet seat down, okay? So two things are going on there. It's you never do this or you always do that. And the other thing to keep in mind are I'm making different facial expressions. So you have body language that goes also with the verbal language. So when you think about these things, and you're probably laughing at me right now for the way I'm doing this, but think if you're on the recipient end of these things that I'm saying, you're not going to take them very well. And key to this one is, and this isn't a male versus female thing of you always or you never, because we all do it, but whenever you get something brought to you, you never do this or you always do that, I'm going to think of the one or two times that I did what you said I never do, or I didn't do what I always do, according to you, and I'm going to use them as examples back to you just to prove you wrong. And guess what? Then the merry-go-round starts. The dance ensues. We start another fight. So it comes back to how we approach things. Ladies, I know you tend to be a little more emotional than men do, historically speaking. However, both men and women, if you can remove the emotion from a conversation, you have a completely different conversation on your hands. Something that sounds so trivial and so dumb outside of the matter once you take the emotion out of it. So what I'm saying is, let's go back to the classic toilet seat example that we all have had at different times in our lives. You always leave that toilet seat up. Well, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China right now? I'm in the middle of watching a ball game. See, my reaction didn't match, or actually it matched from an emotional level. And I had some sarcasm to throw into it. That's like throwing fuel on the fire. That's not what she wanted to hear. So if you come in this aggressive, pointing at you, just malice-looking face, and you come in with your attitude and your high emotion, and I hate when you do, and you do this, and blah, 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 and you never do that, guess what you're getting out of me? Now I'm going to get emotionally wrapped up and I'm coming back after you. And again, merry-go-round starts. Here comes the dance. Here we go again. That's not fun. That's not joy-filled life. The pastor, Greg Groeschel, if you're not familiar with him, he says that we tend to judge ourselves by our intent. We tend to judge others by their actions. Think about that. The person that I love more than anybody else outside of my children, and that's a different kind of love, I'm judging them based on their actions towards me, but I'm judging myself based on my intent towards that person. Doesn't really add up, does it? So what I'm saying is, my intent, I come from a good place. I have a good heart. And I know that what you're saying that I said is not right, because that was not my intent, or that was not what I was trying to say, or that's not what I said at all. You put words in my mouth. I was judging myself based on my intent. I was being judged based off of my actions. Why can we not extend the same grace to our significant other, this person you love so much, and we treat them, or we act in a way that they are treating us with malice intent because of what they said? We didn't judge them based off their intent. We judged them based off their actions. She had a bad attitude. He came at me. He yelled at me. He didn't do this. She didn't do that. I'm mad because of work, and you just stepped on the last nerve I have, and by golly, it's on like Donkey Kong now. Really? Like, again, when we take all the emotion away from this, it sounds so dumb. And yet, we get all worked up. We have this issue that bubbles inside of us for days or hours or weeks or whatever it is, and then we explode instead of just having a conversation and talking through it. So I'm going to stop there today. Like I said, I got a whole other list of things that I haven't even gotten to. And again, these are things, guys, girls, I have failed every single one of these. I can give you an example of every single one of these where I've gone wrong over the years. But think about it. If I tweak the conversation just that much, my approach just that much, it can make a world of difference in my relationship. It can make a world of difference in my communication skills with my children, with my coworkers, with my friends, with my neighbors. So we're going to stop there. Like I said, think about some of these things we're talking about. Put them in practice. See what kind of impact it has on your world and your life. In the meantime, always appreciate the feedback. Hit me up. Appreciate the emails that have been coming in. And like I said, the feedback, I love it. It helps kind of really guide this ship as we're going along together. So till next time, thank you so much. Have yourself a blessed day and a joy-filled life. Take care.